Hello there, ladies and gentlemen, and welcome to the Animated Theater. This is the home to reviews on TV shows like Doctor Who and Star Trek. But also, this is where I work on my own projects, my own animations and cartoons. So, this is a video reviewing Matt Smith's second episode of Doctor Who. However, if you're a fan of Doctor Who, you also might be a fan of my Jefferson Strange cartoons. Jefferson Strange is the Mad Hatter in a science fiction-esque world, stylistically fairly similar to Doctor Who. So if you enjoy Doctor Who, you might also enjoy my Jefferson Strange cartoons. Today I'm talking about the episode The Beast Below. I'm gonna start by giving this episode a ranking. So this episode gets probably 3 stars. I think it's very good. I don't think it is as good as the last episode. So 3 stars is where I'm putting this episode. With that being said, I want to break down the things that I liked about this episode, and then I'm going to take a minute to talk about the one thing that I would have done a little bit differently for this episode. The first good thing that I really liked about this episode is I like the opening. I really like the opening. And I love this in Doctor Who, where the opening is like a character that isn't as relevant to the rest of the episode, but it sets up the situation of the episode. I love that. I think that is very fun when Doctor Who does that. Now also, I want to point to Amy floating outside the TARDIS, and this is sort of goes back to something I talked about last time, where Stephen Moffat did a lot of cool things with the TARDIS, a lot more than Russell T did. So that might be the one area where he is the superior showrunner. Although, honestly, it probably just leans back to the budget of this era more than anything else. Moment of expert foreshadowing. I talk about Stephen Moffat's expert foreshadowing ability a lot. But here's an example of it, and that is the Doctor running out, putting the water on the floor, seeing that there's no vibration from the engine, and Amy asks him, "Why did you do that?" He's like, "Oh, no, man." I think that is a very good moment in this episode because it foreshadows there's no engine running on this spaceship, so how's it flying? But also it does it in such a way where if you're clever enough,
You clever boy,
you might be able to pick up on that clue where you see, wait a minute, if this is a spaceship, you would expect there to be some sort of a shaking from the engine or something like that. So I think that was a very well done moment. This is a smaller thing. This line right here.
Any parent knows that.
are you a parent?
I'm always happy to hear a reference to the Doctor being a father. I thought it was so sad when, in the current era, they kind of seeked to imply that the Doctor was not a father.
If you've got a granddaughter, that means you've got kids.
Well, not quite. Not yet.
But you mean you can have a granddaughter before a daughter?
Life of a Time Lord.
Even though we have a bunch of lines like this that point back to him being a father. Anyway, so I quite like the Doctor being a father and not super wanting to talk about it. That scene, wonderful. Another line, this one just made me laugh. I rarely have moments where I get more than a snicker when watching TV shows, but I did really appreciate the
No, you look Time Lord.
I thought that was a pretty funny line, and it's a smaller moment of humor in this era that actually really works for me. Last episode, I talked about how this Doctor sort of likes fear in a lot of ways, and it's sort of like his sense of adventure is that he gets excited about things that are a little scary, and he thinks it's kind of fun. When he is standing on the big old tongue with Amy, and he gets excited about the big old tongue.
A tongue! A great big tongue!
I liked that. I thought that was good. It's like, we might be eaten, but I still think it's wonderful that we're on this
Great big tongue!
So I like that for this Doctor. Another moment, this is a moment of like coldness from this Doctor, where he sort of snaps at Amy and he says,
You don't ever decide what I need to know.
I liked that because I like the sort of aggression from this Doctor, and also it's like just at times he has just a lack of comfort to him in the way that like he isn't comforting other people in the way he talks. I think that's kind of a fun thing for this character, is that he loves humans, but he doesn't really understand that sometimes it's better to be softer with them. But so this was a moment where like maybe he should have been less harsh or more comforting, but he wasn't. Anyway, I like that. It's sort of an interesting thing for this Doctor, is where he's very friendly but also a lot of times very cold, and I like that. Now, another shout out to the Doctor when he thinks he's going to have to basically kill the star whale. It's very easy to sort of like latch on to that the Doctor is sort of let's say like having trouble with this, and how it's frustrating for him. So I think that's just masterfully written. I like that quite a bit. Okay, now the one thing I don't like is saying I don't like it is actually kind of a exaggeration a little bit, because I actually do like the concept quite a bit. I just wish it would have been done a little better. So what I'm talking about is I'm talking about the Queen's mask. In this episode, the Doctor notes that it's perfectly molded for her face.
Stays on by itself because it's perfectly sculpted to your face.
But then at the end, you realize that the mask is a very old mask, and if it's molded to her face, then that means she's much older than she thinks she is. Really like that. I just wish they would have foreshadowed this a little bit like they did with the water, letting us know that the mask is a old mask. I don't believe that they did that. If they did, I may have missed it watching this time around. So this is me after, as I was editing the video, and I was watching for a moment where they might mention the mask being old prior to that end scene, and I didn't find anything, but I did find something that's kind of neat, and that is when you watch the scene where the Doctor is first looking at the mask, you can really see the wheels turning, and like you can almost hear his train of thought as he's realizing this mask is very old and it's fit perfectly to her face.
How old were you when you came to the throne?
40. What?
What, you're 50 now? No way.
Yeah. They slowed my body clock. Keeps me looking like the stamps.
And you always wear this in public?
Undercover's not easy when you're me. The autographs, the bunting.
Yeah, balanced porcelain. Stays on by itself because it's perfectly sculpted to your face.
I give the mask thing half a point for being kind of fun in that way, where when you rewatch the episode, you can see exactly when the Doctor found out that the Queen is older than she thought. So with that being said, this is 3 stars. I think it's a pretty solid episode. I like it quite a bit. I don't have a lot bad to say with this episode. Real quick, the star whale, I think, is very cute. I like the star whale a lot, and I want them to use more star whales in Doctor Who, because this is the last one, but obviously it's a time travel thing. So I don't know if there's any other times star whales show up in Doctor Who, let me know, because I like the star whale. Anyway, with that being said, that's the end of this review. One last thing, I have been sort of drawing morals from each episode I've reviewed so far. So the first one, but I forgot to do it here. So the real quick moral I want to throw in really quick is that it never hurts to ask. I think sort of the point of this episode is that if they would have just asked the Star Will if he was willing to be the engine for their spaceship, then he would have. But since they assumed that he wouldn't, they ended up torturing him. My poor, sweet boy. I like the Star Whale. But anyway, so the point is that you shouldn't just assume people won't want to help you, but you can always just ask them if they will help you. And maybe they might just say yes, and you won't have to torture them for it. Again, if you like Doctor Who, check out some of my animations. I think you might like them as well. And they're always getting better and better as I'm getting better and better at making them. So, anyway, check that out. Check out my other Doctor Who reviews. I'll have both of those linked right here. And with that being said, don't forget to brush your teeth. Excuse me?